Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when silence speaks louder than words, and distance protects more than presence ever could. We often confuse kindness with obligation and love with tolerance. In our desire to be accepted, we hand over the keys of our heart to people who never learned how to treat something so sacred. But the truth is, your heart is not a public space. It is a sanctuary. It is a sacred garden not everyone deserves to walk through. And the moment you realize that, you will stop breaking your own heart just to keep others comfortable. It takes wisdom to learn that not every smile hides loyalty, not every shoulder is safe to lean on, and not every story deserves a chapter in your life. Some people come with lessons, others with wounds, but few bring growth. And the ones who truly deserve a place in your heart, they will never ask for it, they will earn it. This is not arrogance, this is self-respect. This is choosing peace over drama, healing over chaos, truth over pretense. So today, let's talk about emotional boundaries, about guarding your soul like it's the masterpiece it truly is. Let's explore the power in choosing wisely, in loving deeply but not blindly, and in understanding that giving everyone access to your heart is the quickest way to lose yourself. Your heart is not a revolving door. There's a reason why some doors have locks and why some hearts need walls. It's not about shutting people out. It's about protecting what's sacred. You have walked through storms. You have stood in the fire, and still your heart beats with softness. That softness is not weakness, it is strength, wearing the robe of compassion. But just because your heart is open doesn't mean it should be open to everyone. Some people only come when they need healing, when they need light, when they need warmth. They borrow your smile, soak in your energy, and when they've taken enough, they disappear like mist. And yet you open the door again. You tell yourself maybe this time they'll stay for your soul, not just your sanctuary. But people who leave bruises on your spirit do not deserve entry into your heart. You are not a pit stop in someone's journey of confusion. You are not a temporary shelter for the emotionally homeless. You are not a second choice, a fallback plan, or an afterthought. You are a destination for those who know how to love without hurting, how to stay without demanding, how to care without conditions. Your heart is not meant for those who treat it like a convenience store. It is a garden, and gardens need nurturing. You deserve to have people walk in with clean hands, not with careless footsteps. You deserve people who plant with you, not those who pluck your petals when they need beauty for their own emptiness. And yet, so many times we keep that door open out of fear of being alone, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being forgotten. But there is a kind of aloneness that is far more peaceful than being surrounded by people who do not value your soul. There is silence that heals more than noise that deceives. There is solitude that strengthens more than company that drains. So take a moment today and ask yourself, is your heart a museum everyone can walk through? Or is it a temple only the sincere can enter? Because when you treat it like a treasure, the world learns to treat it that way too. Set emotional boundaries without guilt. Why do we feel guilty for protecting what's fragile? Why do we apologize for choosing ourselves? Somewhere along the journey, we were taught that selflessness means self-sacrifice, that love means saying yes even when we're breaking inside. But true love for others and for ourselves is built on boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are bridges that show others how to love us without wounding us. There's courage in saying no. There's dignity in walking away. There's beauty in choosing your peace over pleasing the world. And those who truly love you will never make you feel bad for needing space, for protecting your time, for choosing stillness over chaos. You are not responsible for everyone's comfort. You are responsible for the rhythm of your soul. You do not owe anyone access to your life just because they've known you for long. Time does not guarantee trust. Proximity does not guarantee purity. Some people grow with you, and some grow away from you, and that's okay. You don't have to hold on to people just because they were part of your past. You are allowed to evolve and choose your energy. The truth is, people will treat you the way you allow them to. If you let them walk over your kindness, they will never learn its worth. If you never draw a line, they will never know where your soul begins and their expectations end. So draw that line, not with anger, but with clarity. Not to punish, but to protect. Sometimes setting boundaries feels like betrayal, especially when you love deeply. But you are not betraying anyone when you choose yourself. You are simply saying, my heart matters too, my peace matters too. My journey deserves tenderness, not turbulence. And that is not cruelty, that is care. Remember, you are not required to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You are not a savior in someone else's storm. You are your own home, and you have every right to guard the doors with love and intention. Love deeply, but choose wisely. There's a beautiful strength in loving without holding back, in giving without counting, in showing up with all your heart. But that same strength becomes your biggest weakness when it's poured into the wrong hands. Love is sacred. It is a vibration that heals. And not every soul is capable of holding that vibration with respect. We often confuse connection with destiny. Just because someone understands your silence doesn't mean they deserve your trust. Just because they share your pain doesn't mean they'll protect your peace. And just because they stayed through your storm doesn't mean they'll dance in your sunshine. Love isn't about presence, it's about alignment. You can love people and still keep your distance. You can care for them and still guard your soul. You can forgive and still walk away. Love does not demand you to lose yourself in order to prove its depth. In fact, love that costs your identity is not love, it's emotional debt. Real love uplifts. Real love builds. Real love breathes life into your spirit. We live in a world that romanticizes pain, that tells you love must be hard to be real. But the truth is, love should not be a battlefield where your self-worth is the casualty. It should be a sanctuary, a place where your scars are seen, not exploited. A place where your silence is heard, not ignored. Be wise about who you open up to. Be intentional about who you invest in. Not everyone who knocks on your heart has good intentions. Some just want a place to escape their own chaos. Protect your space. Be generous with kindness, but guarded with your soul. Because the one who truly deserves your love will never ask you to shrink. They will never dim your light. They will never make you question your value. They will simply walk beside you, not in front, not behind, just there, holding space, with presence and peace. Stop explaining your worth. There is a strange need within us to be understood, to explain our intentions, to defend our choices, to prove our loyalty. But not everyone is ready to hear your truth. Not everyone is capable of seeing your heart. And the more you explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you, the more drained you become. You were not born to be a walking apology. Your softness is not a weakness you need to justify. Your empathy is not a flaw you need to fix. The people who deserve you will never ask you to explain the very things that make you who you are. They will feel it, not question it. They will recognize your worth, not debate it. Your heart is not a courtroom. You are not on trial. Stop defending your dreams, your boundaries, your emotions, just to make others comfortable. You are allowed to evolve without approval. You are allowed to outgrow spaces that no longer nourish your soul. The right people will never make you beg for belonging. They will never make you feel like a burden for simply being yourself. You don't need to dress up your soul to be accepted. You don't need to shrink your vision to fit into small minds. You were never meant to fit, you were meant to rise. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away from conversations that question your worth. Sometimes silence is your loudest answer. Sometimes distance is your deepest respect for yourself. Because when you stop explaining, you start living. You reclaim your energy, your identity, your peace. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be real, to be whole, to be you unapologetically, fiercely, and fully heal first, then invite. Before you offer your heart, offer yourself healing. Before you hold someone else, hold yourself through the shadows. We often rush to love others hoping they will fill what's empty, complete what's broken. But love that comes from a place of lack is not love. It is longing dressed in desperation. Your heart is not a battlefield for past pain. It deserves to bloom, not bleed. And the only way it can bloom is when you take time to understand your wounds, to sit with your silence, to make peace with your past. Healing is not a destination, it's a journey. A gentle unfolding of the layers we once hid just to survive. When you heal, you don't just change how you feel, you change what you attract. You stop chasing closure in people who were never meant to stay. You stop finding comfort in chaos. You begin to gravitate toward peace, and peace begins to gravitate toward you. The energy shifts when the heart is whole. Don't rush the process. Don't skip the solitude. Don't fear the stillness. There is a kind of transformation that only happens in quiet. There's a kind of power that only comes from being with yourself, without distractions, without pretenses, without masks. That's where real love begins within. And once you're filled with that kind of love, you no longer search for someone to rescue you. You look for someone to grow with, someone who reflects the same light you now carry within. You become more discerning, more grounded, more aware of what you need and what you no longer want to tolerate. Because a healed heart doesn't just love, it leads, it guides, it chooses. And most of all, it no longer hands itself over to people who don't know how to hold it. In the end, there comes a powerful turning point in life when you stop begging to be seen and you start honoring your own soul. When you no longer hand over pieces of your heart like free offerings to people who only take, break, and leave. When you rise from the ashes of your own pain and realize your heart is not a charity, it is a treasure. It is not made to be accessed by anyone who knocks. It is meant to be protected, nurtured, and shared only with those who truly see its worth. And in that moment of awakening, you stop confusing love with tolerance and silence with acceptance. You understand that setting boundaries doesn't mean closing yourself off. It means opening your life to deeper connections, the ones that don't ask you to bleed to feel loved. You begin to understand that solitude is not emptiness, it is preparation. Healing is not isolation, it is restoration. You no longer chase those who make you question your existence. You stop explaining your soul to people who do not have the eyes to see or the heart to feel. You become still, not because you're indifferent, but because your peace is no longer up for compromise. You become selective, not out of pride, but out of wisdom that was earned through pain, silence, and resilience. And through this journey, you learn something sacred, that not everyone deserves access to your heart, and that's okay. Because the ones who do won't have to force their way in. They will knock gently, speak truthfully, stay consistently, and love you without needing to fix or change you. They will honor the parts of you that even you are still learning to love. So today, choose your heart like you would choose your breath with reverence. Choose who you allow in, like you choose who gets to see you without armor. Because your heart is not just where love lives, it is where your soul finds its home. And only those who bring peace, depth, and truth should ever be allowed to cross its doorsteps.